everyone. This is Maren and Angela of Homeschool, Unrefined, and we are popping in here in August, which wasn't really on our plan for the summer. We were really going to take a longer summer, but we have lots of things to share with you, and we missed you.
We missed you.
So we decided to get back on the microphone and record a little something for you today.
Right. Our favorite thing is recording.
Yes.
So
it is.
We've missed that, and we wanted to record a little mini episode for you. All right. So we're going to share one listener question today and one LTW. Before we get to that, though, we wanted to tell you about our Back to School Summit.
Yes, this is a 3-part audio series Angela and I prepared for you. We get lots of questions about going back to school, starting homeschool for the first time, and we wanted to put it all together in one big package for you. This is like kind of like your one-stop place to find all the kind of most important things that we talk about.
Yes, like practical things and inspiration for starting your school year. So this summit is designed for new and experienced homeschoolers to inspire and equip us to design a sustainable school year. We'll help keep your homeschool simple, real, and fun by reframing your expectations and giving you real-life solutions based on our 20-plus years of homeschool experience.
Right. And like I said, you're going to get 3 inspiring and practical conversations, and you can listen to this whenever it works for you. You also will be getting digital printable worksheets with reflection questions, takeaways, and partner episodes from our actual podcast, that will really kind of magnify the message we're sharing in this summit.
Yes. And you'll get our app school guide and our curriculum guide included. I know some of you may have already bought that, but if you haven't, this is your chance. It's all included in one package. It's $25.
Right.
And you can find it at homeschoolunrefined.com/summit, or we'll put a link in the show notes.
The great news is even just the app school guide and the curriculum guide together, that's $15.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're getting such a good deal here. That's because those 2 things come free with the summit. The things we talk about in here, like I said, are some of the most important things we say on this podcast, and plus so much more. And so I just feel like you're going to get really who we are, and I think it's going to help the beginning of your homeschool just like take off in the direction you want it to right away.
For sure.
The other great news is patrons get $5 off. So if you're a patron, you're going to get $5 off. If you're not a patron, you can easily join Patreon, where we do lots of extra content over there every month for $5 a month. So that you can find us at I think it's patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined.
Yep.
Correct?
Definitely. And we'll put all that in the show notes for sure.
Yes.
All right. Let's get to our listener question. All right. We have a question from Essie. She is asking, what are your favorite family activities through the years? What has been the most fun and meaningful ways you've spent time as a family and connected with your kids? I had to think about this one.
Oh, I know.
This is a really good question.
Yeah.
And it prompted lots of reflection for me.
Yeah. For sure. Me too. And I think my first reaction was, it's probably not in the things you think.
Yeah.
As much as I like to say it was family dinners, it wasn't family dinners.
Yeah.
I think for me, family dinners, I love the idea of family dinners, and I actually think there are good things that do happen. But oftentimes for me, my memory of family dinners is just getting people back to the table. And
when you say memory, you mean like in your own, with your kids?
With my own kids, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I think even now that is the case. My kids are older. They're 14, 12, and 10. But I have one child who has a hard time still sitting at the table, and not because of it paying attention, but because it's so loud, and she doesn't like that. It's just the sensory of 6 people sitting around a table is really tough for her. So We have found other ways
Yeah, that's
to
good.
spend
That's
meaningful
good.
time together. We still do that, but it
Right.
just doesn't always look the way, in my mind it should.
Well, okay, so I have to say, you caused me to think about this. Family
Mhm.
dinners, I think, are great,
Mhm.
but they're not the only way. And I think they're like held up as this way
They are.
because there's like, I don't know, is there research or something? There's probably
Yeah,
research that
of
says
course
like
there
people
is,
who have
yes.
family dinners like are more connected.
Yeah.
And I think as homeschoolers,
Yeah.
we're together all day. And
Yeah.
so like the thought of also being together for a family dinner
Right.
is kind of like more than the average family, maybe.
It feels a little overboard almost sometimes, or it just means
And
it's time or it just naturally almost feels like break time for us.
oh yeah, we
Time
need a
to-
break now.
Yeah, bye.
But also like if that works for you, we're all about this. If that works for you,
Totally.
do it. But if it doesn't, don't feel bad about it.
Exactly.
Do something else and don't feel bad.
If you're new to our podcast, you're going to hear this a lot. If this works for your family, do it. And if it doesn't, don't do it.
Right.
Because that is like a big message we like to share.
For sure. So as I was thinking about this, I was thinking that it's important, I feel like, to do with your kids and with your family what you love.
Mm-hmm.
Introduce them to your favorite things and your passions.
Yes.
Because they will get excited. You'll be excited about it. They'll get excited about it. It'll be contagious. And I think it's a great way to show your children who you are and not just do the things that you think you should be doing as a parent.
Right. Right.
So
do you have a good example of that, Angela? Because I just thought of, I thought of one of these, but I didn't say it the way you said it.
Oh, okay.
I just thought of an example.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah,
mine
I
first.
do.
Okay, well, mine is getting out in nature, and I think over the years, getting out in nature has been so good for all of us as a family. Yeah. I feel like it's a decompression time. It's not something my kids, of course, as they're, when they were younger, they loved to go play outside. But I mean, like, getting out onto a trail or something like that. It's more in a nature setting, like a park, a state park or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my ideal there, too, would have been, I would have done... and I really tried to do this, like more nature journaling and more bird ID and lots of sciencey things and writing and all this stuff. And what really works for our family what worked and still does work for our family is just getting out into nature and they do what they do. They are getting out of it what they want to get out of it. And so we started out, doing little half-mile hikes, or not even that, maybe it was just something very little, and we sometimes grow to longer hikes. We sometimes have grown to longer hikes, but we don't always, but it's something that's really important to me. And I think as my kids get older, some of them are less likely to want to join me, but they do if I don't push it too often. Even as older kids. Actually, my oldest will probably say yes more than anyone else. So I think that has a lot to do with personality too. But like, I just think like there's something that happens out on the trail for us, like especially on a longer trail when we're not super, we're not trying to get done in a certain amount of time. We're just taking our time. And I feel like that's when conversations have naturally popped up in between our kids. So just relationally, this has been so good for our family. They have connected so naturally out on the trail more than anywhere else. And they've made jokes, like they've come up with inside jokes on the trail. And so, they will also do their own bird ID or butterfly ID or plant or, whatever, or they'll make art out of the things in nature that, that they made. And I really don't want to sugarcoat this. It's not always like this. And in fact, a lot of times it's been complaining up until we get up to the trail, or there's been complaining on the trail. But I feel like what happens is there's a shift in like the brain chemistry that happens somewhere. And I feel like by the end, it's somewhere on the trail it changes, and everyone usually ends up so much happier and just feeling more connected.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
I was going to say one of mine that I thought of was camping. When my kids were younger, we did a lot of camping.
Oh, yes.
And when I say this, it's not tent camping. We're in a camper. So those of you who tent camp, bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo. But still, I mean, we took 3 young kids camping in a camper, and I look back and I think
amazing.
Those were, how did I do that? I don't know. How did I pack all that stuff and why? I mean, but I know why, because now we look back and we have these shared experiences together.
Yes.
And I was thinking about your nature and all these things we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
It's a shared experience. It's a thing that you can say, like, remember when we did that, and only our family did that. Like, only the 5 of us had this one experience doing this one thing.
Right.
And so we share that together with nobody else in the world.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So I think that's what's really great looking back. You know, my personality is one to look back on memories, and I definitely do that. And we definitely still hold those dear, even though was camping fun every time? No. And in fact, I got 0 sleep with a nursing baby. So at the time it was really hard, but it was also like a growing experience that we can share. So
I agree. And, you know, we did some camper cabining, and we did some of that with you too. And I think that was good.
Camper cabining.
But we also did a lot on our own. And I do feel like, and even if we were camper cabining near each other, we were, you know, in our own cabins. There's little tiny cabins, right? Mm-hmm. So that too, I do feel like there's like, when you do something a little bit out of the ordinary, and it's fun and maybe a little hard, there's like this I think there's a combination there of fun and hard and growth, and but it was good, you know. I realize that's not always tangible. It's not always something that you can find right now, right this minute, and it's not something you want to force either. So if you can't figure out what that is today, that is really okay.
Yeah,
that's really okay.
Sure. Well, I would say too, like, just think of what you enjoy and do that with your kids.
Yeah.
So I have another example of that.
Okay, let's hear it.
And this comes from my husband, Jeremy. He loves water things.
Yeah.
So like, he loves water slides and water parks.
Yeah. That's great.
And, you know, when our kids were young, he'd want to like go to water parks and water slides. And I remember being like, why would we do that? Like at the beginning, I'd be like, why would we do that?
Yeah.
Like, we should just go in nature. Or like, I don't know. I think I had a real snobby attitude about this. Yeah. I was like, we're going to go on this man-made chlorinated fun thing. Like, right. I don't know. I really needed to change my attitude, and luckily I did, because this is like something he loves. He's loved it since he was a kid. He loves like doing big water park, like the biggest slide type thing.
Right.
And you know what? He had our kids love that too. That is something that he experienced with them. He goes down all the slides. He wants to go, like when we go to a hotel, he wants to have it be a water park hotel.
Yeah, of course.
You know, he's really into that. And I'm like, why do we, why are we doing this? Now I know it's because he loves it. Yes. He loves it. And that is reason enough for me.
Okay. I'm also going to say the same thing about, and I think nature is something that I'm really interested in. I think it's really important also to find out what's the thing your kids really like to do and connect with them on that. And I think my husband is really good at doing that, because he sometimes has the same interest. And actually, when my kids were little, he was like, I can't wait till they're old enough to watch, Marvel movies. Yeah. And so like we now this whole summer, this whole past winter over, our COVID, staying home all year, we watched all the Marvel movies, and it was really exciting. It was so exciting. Another thing that my kids love to do is play video games. My husband's great at connecting with them on video games. Great. Yeah. I am not great, but it is such a connector. It's such a connector. So I think it's really important to be like kind of get over that, like you didn't like the
get over your
man-made chlorine
preconceived
pool, which I totally get. I understand that too. But if there are some things that we can, if there's something you can get past and really enjoy it, that means the world to our kids too. So
Totally. Along that same lines, like we have a cabin, and my vision for our cabin is like, we're gonna go canoeing and we're gonna go kayaking and we're gonna just go swimming with, just our bodies.
Listen to the birds. What? Right?
And probably some hiking while we're there. And Jeremy's like, let's get a tube and a jet ski, and we're gonna like rip around the lake and pull the kids as fast as they can go, and make it real fun and scary.
And which one do they like?
And which one do you think they prefer? So, and you know what? It's been awesome. It is like our whole family loves tubing.
That's just amazing.
So
our family loves to come and visit and tube with you. It's a huge draw, and I think that's important. I mean, to have to draw your kids in with something. Another thing is, when I read this question, I kind of started thinking actually about major holidays and major traditions that we do, and I was like, wow, we really don't do much of that. Although I have to say, when my kids start in on traditions or things that we do for certain holidays, then I'm into it. I'm not as into like these older fashioned things that we've done for generations that I'm gonna like, I don't know why we're doing this exactly, but my kids have come up with great things for us to do each holiday. And I have one kid especially who's super traditional. And, we have a box of decorations now. Not something I personally would ever have done, but like we have a box for certain holidays, and they come out, and like our house gets decorated by one of my kids.
Yeah.
Especially led by one of my kids, but everybody gets involved. But I think it's because it was led by a kid and not me. If I was like, okay, kids, we're going to put all the holiday lights up today. And, it's kind of like Christmas Vacation when the dad is like, here, can you unwind this whole ball of, it's like, this is not fun. But when it's kid led, it just feels more fun and more natural. And I'm like, I have no expectations of that. I wasn't going to do this anyway. So like anything you do is going to be more than what I was going to do. So go for it. And that has become really, like, I'm looking forward to that every year now.
Wow.
And it's because I'm not in charge of it. I'm not the one.
Yeah. You're not like dragging everybody along when nobody really wants to do it anyway.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. So, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The last one I thought about is, and talking about dinner, the one thing we do as a family now is we eat dinner and watch a show together. So like everybody,
I think that's going to be mind blowing for some people. You eat dinner and watch a show together.
Oh, it's funny because it used to be like TV at dinner was like a big no-no. Now I'm like, oh, we're really connecting.
Yeah.
We're really connecting over this show.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because we talk the rest of the day.
Yeah. And how old are your kids?
They are 16, 14, and 12. Mm-hmm. So, and this is getting harder, I will say, because everybody has opinions about their favorite shows. Yeah. But one show we all really like is Survivor. And so we all get excited for that. And we're excited for the fall season. And so I know on Wednesday nights we are going to make dinner and bring it to the living room with our plates and watch Survivor. And that's going to be really exciting.
So great.
Yeah.
That's so great. And there's infinite amount of seasons. Right? Not infinite, but I mean there's lot.
There's 40 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll always have something to watch too, probably.
Well, we rewatched a lot of them in the pandemic, so we're kind of sick of the old seasons and we are just ready for this new one.
Oh. Well, that's exciting too.
It is exciting. Yeah. Do you have any more, Maren, or should we?
I think that's probably it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Yep. Let's move on to our LTW, our Loving This Week.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have one, Maren?
I do. Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I am loving a book this week, and it's called Infinite Country. It's by Patricia Engel.
Okay.
And it is about a family from Colombia and how I mean, to be really basic, how they immigrated to America.
Okay.
But it's very complicated. And it starts out with the perspective of one of the girls who is now a teenager and is running away from a girls' prison in
Okay.
in Colombia and trying to get to America. I'm just gonna set that up for you because it is I just love how this author has written a story so that makes you just fall in love with this family and each person in the family personally. So, I mean, she really goes into detail about each person's story, and it's just wonderful. So good.
That's awesome. So it's character driven.
Yes.
Really. Okay. And are you listening on audio or are you reading?
I listened on audio. Yes.
Was it a good reader?
It was a great reader. It was great. Like I almost want to like look up other books that she's written or she's narrated.
How did you find this
really
book?
Good. Scribd suggested it for me.
That's great that you take those suggestions.
Yes, the Scribd app is kind of like, if you don't know, it's kind of like Netflix for books, right? For audiobooks mostly, but you can do, actually it does have ebooks too. So, and magazines. And things
That's
like
great.
That. So yeah.
I'm going to put that on my list for sure.
It's just wonderful.
Because I love characters.
Yes, and she is, Patricia Engel is an immigrant from Colombia too. So she has lots of personal
she's writing from personal experience.
you can, I mean, it's just so obvious too. I mean,
yeah,
without even knowing that, it was just, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad she wrote this book.
Okay.
All right.
I am definitely adding that to my list.
Yeah, you'll love it. Angela, what are you loving this week?
I am loving a recipe
nice.
for air fryer whole chicken.
Oh, great.
I just made this last night. Again, I talked about this in our last Patreon episode, so patrons have heard this, but I made it again last night and I was reminded of how much I really love this. So if you have an air fryer, you can cook a whole chicken in there that is better than a rotisserie chicken.
Okay.
It's crispy all over all of the outside and it's fall apart delicious on the inside.
That is just amazing.
Because if you've ever tried to cook a whole chicken, whether it be in the oven or the Instapot or the crock pot or whatever, you don't get all those things. You might get the fall apart, but then the outside skin is skinny, slimy.
Right.
Or you might get some of the skin gets a little crispy and some of it doesn't or whatever. So this is perfect. And so it's from this website. So all I did was Google air fryer whole chicken. And it's the first thing that came up and it was amazing. So the website is jenniferbands.com.
Okay.
I'll put a link in the show notes. But what you do is you like make this paste with oil and then like a bunch of seasonings. Okay. Right? So just add it to like a little bowl. Then you take your fingers and you use your hands and you rub it all over the chicken.
Okay.
And then you put it in the air fryer for an hour.
Are these
and it's
seasonings
amazing.
We'd have probably?
Yeah, it's and if you don't, you can put whatever you want.
Okay.
It's like salt and pepper and, basil, parsley, thyme. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Paprika.
Great.
It's delicious. It's so good.
So I'm assuming this is better than like a rotisserie chicken that you'd pick up at the store.
It is. It's better than a rotisserie chicken from the store because it's hot and crispy.
Yeah.
And whole chickens are cheap.
Yeah.
So, and you can like usually get another meal depending on how many people in your family.
True.
Like you can save a bunch of the chicken, which I did. So we'll use that later. And if you're really fancy, you can, make broth out of the bones, which I used to do when I was young and had lots of energy.
Yeah.
I don't. So you can really, I like whole chickens because you can, do a lot with them. But totally. I never was able to cook them well, and now I do. And this is just set it and forget it, or whatever they say.
Great.
Okay.
I can't wait. I know I've heard you say this before.
Yeah.
And you've convinced me now.
Okay.
I'm glad you said it twice to me because.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it takes twice.
And it's hard for me to believe that this chicken is going to be really great, but it must. It must be.
Is. That's really great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We are going to be back this fall with an exciting new season, so you can look forward to that. And we will see you at that time. In the meantime, you can check out everything that we talked about, the links and stuff in our show notes. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. And we'll see you in a few weeks.
Thanks for listening.